Baker Mayfield has requested a trade for the second time, and this obviously is going to happen. There's no denying a trade for Baker Mayfield now, although Cleveland denied it first before they acquired Deshaun Watson. Now Baker Mayfield is looking for a new home, and there has been so much chatter on whether or not Baker's in the wrong for releasing his emotional Instagram post or whatever post it was. And then some people are on the side of Cleveland is handling this very poorly and saying, oh, I want Deshaun Watson, then not getting him, and then holding Baker Mayfield hostage. Obviously, this all changes now that they have now acquired Deshaun Watson. They don't look as bad. But Aaron, I want to know from you, who is right and who is wrong in this situation between Baker Mayfield versus the Cleveland Browns?
Oh, it's Cleveland. Cleveland's right. I mean, listen, I'll call him out. We call him out all the time on the show. He loves it. Bailey, listen, I was talking to Bailey last night, and we're talking about Baker Mayfield and how Cleveland ruined the relationship by going after Deshaun Watson. Well, it's proven now that that's false because by them going out, they upgraded the position. But the fact of the matter is Baker Mayfield has been acting like an absolute baby. This is the NFL. And every NFL team is going to take the opportunity to improve at a position when given the chance. I can't remember. I don't, if it's ever even happened, I can't remember a quarterback, an elite quarterback at 26 years old being on the market and available to teams ever in NFL history. So you would be doing your organization, your franchise a disservice if you didn't make a phone call, if you didn't try to make that happen. And they were upfront with Baker. They said, we are going to try to improve every position when we can. Baker needs to stop acting like a baby. And the fact of the matter is, yes, Baker took them from nothing and made them a playoff team. Congratulations. But the fact of the matter is if he played better last year and he wasn't getting in his own way and he lived up to the expectations of being that number one pick overall, he would have already got his contract extension. There was a reason why they didn't sign him after that playoff win in Pittsburgh. They still didn't trust him. They didn't feel like he could make the plays when they needed to be made. And I've said on this show a number of times that was the case. Can you win with Baker Mayfield? Yes. Very similar to style of a Jimmy Garoppolo when everything is right around him and you tell him, don't make a mistake. Yeah, you can win some games. You might get somewhere with them, but that's not what this league is about. This league is about elite talent and elite superstars at the quarterback position. And if you don't believe me, ask the Los Angeles Rams, who went to a Super Bowl with Jared Goff and then got rid of him for Matt Stafford. So this is not the first time it's happened. And you didn't see Jared Goff whining and crying and complaining like Baker Mayfield. The fact of the matter is Baker Mayfield's acted like a baby and he needs to grow up.
It seems like everyone has already forgotten. There was one team that was pretty hot on the Deshaun Watson trail last year, or was it 2 years ago, when the Miami Dolphins were on the hot trail for Deshaun Watson, and then they hurt the feelings, or they were looking like they would hurt the feelings of Tua Tagovailoa, but you didn't see him demanding a trade. You didn't see him putting out an emotional statement out there on social media. You saw him say, I'm not worried about that. I'm just focused on me and getting better and doing whatever I can. There's another team that was in the sweepstakes for Deshaun Watson this offseason, the name the Atlanta Falcons, and they have Matt Ryan. You didn't see Matt Ryan, and that's the professional right there. That's the standard of what you want to be as a professional in the NFL, as a quarterback that just says, okay. And it's not about the feeling of Baker Mayfield not being able to express himself. Sure, you can do whatever you want, Baker Mayfield. You can still go out and be a shitty quarterback and shoot all of your progressive commercials that you do. Do whatever you want. But
this
it does
is
not.
Business.
Exactly.
This is a business. And if you cannot live up to your expectations, expect to be replaced.
And you cannot look at the Cleveland Browns as the problem here because of them trying to get better. What, are they supposed to suck for another year? If they know that Baker Mayfield is not going to get them to where they need to be, why should they stop and let this continue for next year until they're able to either draft a quarterback or trade for another one?
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. How is this different? How is this situation different than Philadelphia winning a Super Bowl with Nick Foles and us getting all over Carson Wentz for being in his feelings? It's the same thing. How is this different than Alex Smith watching Patrick Mahomes? They trade up to get Patrick Mahomes, him winning playoff games. Alex Smith took the Chiefs to the playoffs and won playoff games, and they said, you know what? we don't feel like you could get us over the hump. That happened to Alex Smith twice, once in San Francisco, once in Kansas City. Did you ever see Alex Smith coming out, making statements, crying, demanding trades because he felt hurt? Listen, I'm not saying he can't feel hurt. I'm not saying he can't be motivated by this. What I'm saying is he has to be a professional. And every team now that he goes to, if I'm a GM, in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, what's going to happen when he struggles and we have to bring in a guy because we think we might have to move on? Are we just going to waste our pick again? Are we just going to waste our time trading for this guy who's not mentally tough enough to handle adversity? Because I tell my 15-year-old son this when he was 9. If somebody is better than you, the only thing you can do is work harder. All you can do is prove people wrong. So if Baker wanted to prove people wrong, then he would just shut up. He would get traded like he's going to get traded, and he'll go somewhere and he'll ball out. And he'll say, then he can look back and he can say, this is why you shouldn't have moved me. But until he does that, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear how hurt you are and how sad your relationship is now and it's all fractured because you brought this upon yourself.
Yeah. And that's been the story of Baker Mayfield his entire career, though. I'm not sure why now has to be different. Oh, wait, I do know why it has to be different, because he has a bigger platform to try and get all the attention and exploit himself. And because think about it, Baker Mayfield was a walk-on. He had to go through all of the heartaches and everything to get to this point. But before, you didn't see him like blow everything up. But now he's got all the attention on him. He's got all the eyes on him. And obviously, again, he can do whatever he wants. But if you look at what Matt Ryan has done, if you look at what Tua Tagovailoa has done, you will see how you're supposed to react to this type of adversity. But with Baker Mayfield wanting to be traded, there's now suitors. The Seattle Seahawks have been interested, and really the hottest team right now interested is the Indianapolis Colts. They were also had some eyes on Matt Ryan. Basically, Indianapolis is looking at this Deshaun Watson trade and waiting for the sloppy seconds of whatever team gets Deshaun Watson. They said they were very interested in Matt Ryan if they landed Watson, and Baker Mayfield, they're very interested in Baker Mayfield if the Browns land Watson. So where does Baker Mayfield fit in the most?
I don't know. You know, it's sad, but I'm going to say a spot that nobody's really talking about. I think it's Carolina. And part of the reason I think it's Carolina is because I don't think going to Indianapolis is any different than being in Cleveland. I talked about this with Jimmy Garoppolo, right? When you go to, or with Carson Wentz, when you're in Indianapolis, good offensive line, good running game. They have a weapon or two, right? And Michael Pittman. You have a really good defense that creates turnovers. But at the end of the day, you're going to be asked not to make mistakes. And Baker Mayfield wants to be the throw it down the field guy. He doesn't read defenses quickly enough. He is not, I'm not trying to disrespect him because he's the number 1 overall pick. He has talent and he throws a beautiful ball when he sees the defense. But when he does not see the defense, which is quite often, he struggles because he holds onto the football and then he tries to make a play and then he's hurt and then he blames it on injuries. I think the Carolina Panthers would be a good spot for him. Now, I know it's hard to make a trade for him because you're not going to get what you want. Like, you're not going to get what you want. It's going to be Baker Mayfield wants a big payday. Nobody's going to give him that payday. Why would you?
He can blame the Cleveland Browns on ruining a big payday because, and I was going to say this for
no, he can blame himself.
An overall losers of this. The Baltimore Ravens are a loser of this trade. The Arizona Cardinals are a loser of this trade. And any other team in the future trying to pay their young quarterback because Deshaun Watson just pulled a Christian Kirk and blew up the quarterback market in terms of paying. But I like that Carolina Panthers pick, not just because of what you said, but also the Carolina Panthers, they give him a built-in excuse. They give him a built-in excuse on if he struggles, then you can continue doing what you did in Cleveland, where you can also blame it on the team. But if he goes to Indianapolis, he has the same thing where it's like, okay, he has the defense, he has the running game. There's no built-in excuse there. You're going
Carson Wentz all over again.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to be expected to win. And if you don't, you are going to get the heat. But in Carolina, you are not necessarily going to be expected to do great. So you're going to get hit hard in Indy, but you're not going to get hit as hard, and you have a built-in excuse in Carolina.
I disagree. I actually think Carolina's team is a quarterback away. I look at Carolina very similarly to the way I look at Denver. that defense in Carolina is really, really good. They have Christian McCaffrey. They just signed DJ Moore to an extension. We got Robbie Anderson. They have a couple of tight ends that are weapons. Their offensive line is average, like Denver's, and then they were a quarterback away. Like, I really feel like they're in a similar situation, which is why they were in on Watson, because they felt like that would take them over the top. The difference is it's Carolina. Difference is nobody really talks about Carolina, but I do think that if Baker goes to Carolina and has some success, he's going to be in a very similar situation to what he was in Cleveland without the offensive line. And I think it's possible, but I think he needs to go to a place that their coach is going to allow them to be free. And I don't think that's Indy. I think Frank Reich wants you to do certain things, which is why Carson Wentz didn't succeed there, is because he didn't want to do those things. And I think Baker Mayfield's the same way. Kevin Stefanski is asking Baker Mayfield, read it quick, get rid of it, get it in your playmaker's hands, and move on. And he wants to hold on to the ball and take deep shots down the field. And that's not the style that they want to play there. And I think in Carolina, he might have a little bit more freedom under Matt Rule to do some of those things.
Yep. Poor Baker Mayfield. Not poor Baker Mayfield, but yeah. Really
no, we got to stop with this poor Baker. Like, I get so sick of the Baker apologists. Like, he was a number 1 pick, and we give him every excuse in the book.
Yep.
Because of the way he acts and you knew what kind of player he was. They did. But guess what? That shouldn't matter. They have a business to run. Their job is to win football games. So I'm sorry if your feelings are hurt, but you have a job to do, which is play quarterback. And you were the 27th ranked quarterback last year in quarterback rating. You were not good. You were injured because you held on to the ball. I'm so glad Baker Mayfield's on his way out. And he will not go to Seattle.
He's allowed to be emotional, okay? He's allowed to be emotional.
He is. Absolutely. He could be emotional with his wife on the couch while they're watching this.
Hey, man. He took him to the playoffs for the first time in forever. Hey, man. He's Baker Mayfield. He's progressive, man. He lives in the Cleveland Browns stadium.
He's really getting close to Carson Wentz 2.0 on my book. And you guys know how I feel about Carson Wentz.